So I'm going to show you the new features for corporate alignment in Workteam. So I'm going to jump straight in and show you what it looks like for an employee. So first of all, the thing to note is that employees have got access to the organization goals. Now this is important because having a clear line of sight to company objectives is one of the enablers of growing employee engagement. And when employees can see how what they do contributes to the company's objectives, then they feel more engaged with that company. And employees can also access their own goals from this menu too. So you're looking at this employee's goals during the planning period. Now each goal cycle has a planning period when employees define their goals, an execution period when the work actually gets done towards achieving those goals, and then a review period when employees review the goals with their manager. So during the planning period, employees can add goals and optionally define a set of key results for each goal. So key results are a set of metrics that measure progress towards an objective. So employees can give a confidence level to each key result, which is the number between 0 and 100 that defines their confidence of achieving that key result. So in this case, for instance, this is a personal goal, which is to become proficient in first aid, and that might have the key results achieve at least 90% in the qualification and persuade at least 2 members of the team to complete the course. So key results usually have a quantitative element associated with them. So in Workteam there are various types of goals. This is a personal goal where just that person is responsible for achieving that goal. There's also a team goal where this team of people has the responsibility for achieving this goal and the same outcomes. And then there is what we call a cascaded goal. A cascaded goal is where you might have a bigger goal, such as launch an entire product, and you want to break that goal down into smaller sub-goals. So in this case, we're using this key results list as a way of defining sub-goals to break that down. And we can then assign each of these sub-goals to a specific person, and then they will get a goal saying, for example, complete final software components for product B in their goal list. And if they want to, they can break that down further and cascade it to their team. And with all goals, what's really important is that you can align the goal to the company's strategy. So everyone's got visibility of their manager's goal all the way up the tree to the company goals. So if we wanted to align this particular goal, then we can do that here. And I can see my manager's goals and I can choose one of these, or if neither of those are appropriate, I can actually go to the top level company goals and associate my goal with this. And then that becomes aligned to the company goal, and that's useful for all sorts of reasons when it comes to looking at the status of the goals and the overall flow of goals across the company. So we see goal planning as a collaborative process. And so from within the goal list page here, employees can share their goal list and engage with anyone else in the company to help them form their goals. Now typically that might be their manager, but it could equally be anyone else in the team, and just simply by mentioning someone, you include them in the conversation, they get visibility to your list of goals and can collaborate with you to help create those. Now once those goals have been defined, an employee can then submit their goals to the manager, and I'm now going to switch to Workteam, which is logged in as Mike Manager. And Mike will get a notification saying that Simon Bates has submitted a goal plan. And he can then continue the conversation with Simon, go in and recommend certain changes to goals, and then he can finally approve those goals. And I'm going to flick back to my work team. I will then get a notification to say Mike approved the goals, and we're good to go and start the execution phase. So the execution phase, during this time, this is the time when we actually execute on our goals, and periodically we want to update the status of each goal which we can now do from within the goal page here. And we can also update the confidence level of achieving certain key results. And this is all useful information that the manager will want to know, and leaders at the top of the organization. Now, realistically, unless prompted to do so, employees will usually forget to update the status of their goals. They'll normally leave their, they'll settle their goals, and then at the end of the quarterly period, they'll come back to them when they need to complete the task of submitting and reviewing their goals. But we want to engage employees to actually revisit their goals and update them on a weekly basis. And the way we do this is we use Workteam check-ins. Now this comes with the Workteam goal module, and Workteam check-ins is actually a form which can be designed at the organization level and then further refined by managers to be specific for their team. And it consists of questions like, for example, what big things did you achieve this week? What obstacles did you come up against? And this is all information that is useful to a manager, and the manager can use this to start engaging their employees to actually uncover the obstacles that's preventing them from achieving their goals. And part of this is a question could be added to the check-in, which would be an update status goal question, where the employee can just go through each of their goals and click on, yep, this is on track, no, this one's at risk, and then they can submit the check-in and start a conversation with their manager. So like a coaching conversation. So once they've updated their goals, I'm going to switch back to the manager view. The manager will then have access to something called a team goals menu in the side menu here. So this will let them see how their team is progressing on a variety of fronts. So for example, they'll be able to see how many of their team have submitted goals, how many of those have been approved, how many people have actually updated their goals, a histogram here of where everyone is with their goals in terms of the status, and an overall confidence level that the goal has in terms of achieving, that the team have in terms of achieving their goals. And here, so my manager can see his own goals, and this is a view on how his team aligns to his goals. So he might see, for example, this goal here. He can click on there and see that, well, you know, this goal is, looking on track. But if we go to this one here, for example, I can see that this one's at risk, and the manager can then drill in, see what the problems is, start a conversation around how the obstacles of this goal might be overcome. So, amongst other things, they can also go and see the specific statuses of people within their team and drill down into sub-teams and see where the problems are in terms of people having issues with their goals. Now, leadership teams can view exactly the same insights for their entire company. So from the organization settings, we can go into a specific goal period and we can see the goals for the organization, but we can see the progress across the entire company this time. So we can see all the same statistics, but this now applies to the entire company, and the goals shown here are now the company goals. So we can see at a glance what the confidence levels across the entire company are for the goals that align to these specific top level strategic objectives. And again, it's possible to just drill in and see where the problems are, identify the obstacles, and start a conversation about how we overcome those problems. And then we also have tools for execution of goals. So for example, in the planner mode here, we've got work management, which essentially allows us to customize our view on how we handle work within the company, and it's very customizable, such that, for example, if here we're just having a list of work items, some of which are not started, others are in progress, some are are complete, and we can manage that process with simply by dragging and dropping, and we can start conversations with everyone else in the team using the usual mention methodology here. And the idea is that work can be tracked through to completion, and we can actually even see a chart of when we think the work will be completed based on new work that's added versus work that's getting complete. So it's a pretty powerful mechanism for tracking work management. And at the end of the quarter, employees will be invited to submit their goals for review. Now, this is where they get to have a retrospective on each of the goals that they've been working on, and they get to add comments as to how they feel they've achieved the goal. They can select a grade associated with the outcome of the goal and submit that to their manager. And then this can form the basis of an input into a performance appraisal of some kind. So that's a brief overview of goal management in Workteam.